Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of the West Coast Offensive, where I am going to be interviewing Jackson Jerdydude Erdmann, the franchise quarterback of the Wild Aces, one of the teams in the FCF, a brand new league called the Fan Controlled Football League. This league just wrapped up its first season last week, with the Wild Aces winning the championship titled the People's Champion, which was voted on by the fans. Yes, the fans are the ones voting on this league, making names of the teams, voting on the championship name, voting on different rule changes if that needs to be addressed, voting on different plays that are challenged. If you think a play needs to be challenged, the fans are the ones that actually decide if that was a touchdown or if it wasn't a touchdown, if a foot was out of bounds or if it wasn't. That's all controlled by the fans. So I'm going to be interviewing this quarterback franchise guy. Awesome dude. Check out the interview if you want to know more about the league before, so you understand kind of what this league is about. We do talk about some of the rules and such, but if you want more info, head to fcf.io, and that will break down all the rules on that website, so you know what is going on before. And you can also sign up and join a team on that website. Head there, check it out, and enjoy the interview. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is an absolute honor to introduce the franchise quarterback of the Wild Aces, the first ever People's Champion of the FCF, the Fan Controlled Football League. Everybody, this is Jackson Jerdydude Erdmann. How's it going, buddy? How are you feeling after winning the championship last week?
Hey, still riding the high. It was a blast. The whole season was so much fun. Blew my expectations out of the water, and just to be on the Aces for the entire season and to finish off with the championship, couldn't have ended better. So I'm still pumped.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And being able to be a part of it as a fan was so integral in, like, fans are so integrated into the team atmosphere. It's such a cool community. And I was a lifelong Raider fan. I've cheered for sports teams growing up. This is different, though. Like, this is different, just week to week to week, being so hyped on this team and being so involved from the draft side to the playing side, the game side on Saturdays. Man, I've never fist pumped in the air and said yes so much than I did in the championship game, because, man, we're calling the plays, and you guys are executing them well. And man, Saturday, what a great game plan we called, and you guys executed it well. Let's talk about the championship game, though, Jerdy. Lot of crazy first half, right? Yeah, so it looked a little suspicious, right, in the first half. Break down the first half for us. What was it like as on the sideline, as the Wild Aces really consistent on offense, but the defense looked a little on its heels at times. So break down that first half for us.
For sure. I mean, we were playing the Glacier Boys. We played them 2 times already. They're like the Wild Aces, big rival, and I like going into the game. I'm like, okay, we're 2-0. Like, social media is always talking so much crap. I'm like we have to go 3-0. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If we don't win this game, it doesn't matter. It's for the championship. So anyway, and every game we're close against the Glacier Boys. So first half was a shootout, and it was 10 minutes longer. Each half was 10 minutes longer than regular season games. So it was like a shootout, high scoring, and they were converting on the extra points, and we missed a couple, so they were taking the lead. And then going into the first half, we were down 10 or 12 points.
Yeah, something like that.
Defense was kind of essentially getting beat up, and it's the shutdown squad, which defense they ended up being 9-1 on the season. But the better defense, the game before, they kind of had a shutout almost.
Yeah.
Up 6 points, and at halftime they were kind of flustered. Everyone's flustered, and I was like, guys, last time we played the Glacier Boys, we were down 10, at 1 point too. Shutdown squad or defense, you're fine. Get us a couple stops, do your thing. Offense, we're gonna keep scoring. We're gonna be fine. So yeah, definitely the first half, we're like, oh shit, squad's going off. Andrew Jamil has 3 tutties. We're like, dang, we got to keep going, especially because they kept converting on the extra points, and they're 2 points. So if they kept converting on those and we kept missing, that's essentially another touchdown, another score too. So the lead just gets that much more daunting. But yeah, defense I think they got an interception. They stopped them on a 5th down, and offense, we just kept scoring, plugging away, and got the dub.
Yeah, I loved in the first half too, towards the end, I saw you run into, there's a Wendy's hot mic box, which is just a live camera, a hot mic. Players can run in after a touchdown or a big play and kind of just show off on this mic and video. And I saw you run in, and you were keep it going. And I was like, yes, 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 we're scoring on every drive. We're just not getting these 2-point conversions because the refs were letting the players play, which I appreciated. There were definitely some calls on both sides that could have been called, but the officiating was good throughout that game. So I love seeing you go in there, just like, come on. I'm like, he's right. Like, we have this. We just need to keep going. The defense just needs to get a stop at some point. But
Exactly.
yeah,
And at halftime, I texted Greg. I'm
yeah,
because he's there. You guys are calling the plays. He's essentially a leader on the stream. So like, I can't just say, "Hey, coach, let's do this." Like, I'm like, okay, I had to reach out to Greg. I'm like, it's like I text like, don't get flustered. Like, tell the fans keep executing the game plan. We've scored on every possession minus the one when we had like 2 plays. At the end of the half.
yeah. And
And
at
like
that point, it's like, what do you do? Like, time ran out. Like, oh well, you guys got the
exactly.
ball back in the second half anyways first, so it really worked out.
I didn't want like the fans to get flustered and be like, okay, we gotta start throwing it deep. Like, no, just keep going our game plan, just chipping away, and it worked out. And then I just did that as a reminder in the Wendy's hot bike. Like, I didn't know if people would see it or if you could hear me, but yeah, I kept it rolling. And shout out to the Aces fans. I mean, it was
Yeah.
consistent. Like, we easily had the best strategy, and everyone knew in the league that the Aces fans were like, they set the bar high. They set
Mhm.
the standard for what FCF should be, and showed in the end. We ended up winning it all. So.
A
Wow,
hundred percent. Yeah, man. The community is so dope around this team, and just yeah, we under even though the community, because it comes from Kind of Funny, which is a huge gaming network online made by Greg Miller and all the crew over there. Historically, not a big sports community, but obviously every community has probably some sport fans in it. But man, the way this community rallied and learned as the season went on, I mean, watching the first stream, even as a sports fan, I was like, oh man, these guys outside of Andy struggle a little bit understanding some football stuff. All right. Like, Tim and I don't want to call too many people out here, but some people, I was like, uh-oh. But by the end of the season, they really learned how football works and different rule sets. And it's such a cool way to learn football, for one thing, in a new format, but also they're so invested now. And I bet so many other fans just are so invested in football now because of this league.
yeah.
And dude, I just want to props to you. You are an integral part of the fan interaction and the player interaction. Like right on day one, whenever you got a franchise, love the video where they faked that you were going to get cut. Just mean to do, but you gotta love it when it's not you being the one faked out, right?
I know.
um,
They got me good on that, but at the end, I was like, okay, I don't care. Like, yeah, you got me good, but I'm franchise tag, so
yeah,
let it go.
jokes on you guys, I guess. I'm the franchise quarterback, right? Yeah, but you bought into the community and you bought into the idea of what this league is right away with the interaction, sending us the fans calls and game plans every week was so cool. And I just want to give props to you, and because I don't think we'd be having this conversation if you weren't so bought into what this league is and what it wants to do. So props to you, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And just coming into the league, it's so different too, because like we got like maybe like the Glacier Boys at first just calling Madden plays all over the place,
Yeah,
whereas we kind of had a game plan executed. We ended up winning the first game, but it's so big on communication. And I knew like the Kind of Funny was the fan base coming over, and I knew maybe like a lot of them weren't really like like they maybe didn't play sports or watch football a ton, so they
hmm
don't really know what's going on. So my dad, who's a football coach, he made like kind of FCF
yeah,
101 video, just kind of breaking simple like terms down, kind of the understanding. And like you said, like, I can't remember who you said, but like the guys like watching or in the stream, maybe like for Kind of Funny, didn't really know football, but by the end of it, they're so invested. And that's what makes it so much fun too. I think Jose Ruckus, he's the,
yeah,
he runs the Aces Wild podcast. He tweeted like, I'm like a 49er fan, like Golden State Warrior fan or whatever, like they won like the championships. This doesn't even compare. Like, this is so much more better because everyone's so invested. You're literally calling the plays and you're a part of the team. And that's what I love about FCF. I think they did a great job this year in their first inaugural season of bridging the gap from, players to fans. and that's what you have to do to be successful. And that's why us, the Aces, were so successful.
100%. Can't agree more with that. Yeah, when the first week happened, I started talking about the league more as like, this first season is a proof of concept. They're proving that this could work. But by the end of it, I'm like, no, this was a season. This was an official season because they really fine tune it over the course of it. And by the end, like I said multiple times already, by the end, it was a clean product that was great to watch on the stream and participate in. So, man, this league is special. But before we really dive into the league, man, I want to know who is Jerdydude. Who is Jackson Erdmann? Give us a brief overview, man. Where you came from? Like, I don't know. People you look up to. Why are you playing football?
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. I'll start with football. So, well, born and raised Minnesota in the Twin Cities area. I'm living in Minneapolis right now, but was born and raised in Rosemount, which is like 20 minutes south of the city, so metro area.
Okay.
Anyway, born into a football family. My dad's a high school football coach for Rosemount, so my earliest memories are like with my mom, like going to the games or listening to his games on the radio.
Yeah.
And just loved the sport, like my entire life. I've always wanted to grow up, play football, play for my dad, the Rosemount Irish, and then I always dreamt of like playing at like LSU. I was a big LSU Tiger fan because NCAA like 05 or 06 or something had like the mascot game, and I'd always play with them. So anyway, so yeah, big football guy, love the sport. And then I walked on at Penn State my freshman year because I didn't get many like offers coming out of high school. Like Iowa State and Penn State were the only like Division I schools that gave me preferred walk-ons, no scholarships.
Yeah.
Went to Penn State, always dreamt to go in D1 school. Loved it there. Loved my time. Was there for a semester before transferring to St. John's.
Mm-hmm.
And Penn State, like people always ask why I transfer, and Penn State is more like traditional like pro style offense. Like drop back, like pass, like pocket pass here suited for. So like Christian Hackenberg was quarterback when I was there.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, they switched OCs and was kind of like I was there with Saquon, Trace McSorley, so like they're kind of molding the offense a little bit around them.
Yeah.
That out of state tuition was a crap ton. I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna make a switch. Went to a D3 school in central Minnesota. Was there for 4 years. Best decision I've ever made. I won like the equivalent to like the D3 Heisman my junior year. Was a runner-up my senior year. Had a blast. Signed with a sports agency in Minneapolis. They like represent like a bunch of the Vikings guys, Adam Thielen, CJ Ham.
Oh, nice.
And this whole like COVID year canceled. Like I was gonna be in the Minnesota Gopher Pro Day. I had like NFL rookie minicamp invites. I was gonna be like CFL workouts. Canceled everything. So FCF was the first opportunity, like a football I had pretty much.
Wow.
That was like after a year. And here I am, like a year later, I'm going to be in the Gopher Pro Day, which is a week from today. So I never would have thought, especially when I was training for the Gopher Pro Day last year, I was feeling good, ready. I was going to throw with Tyler Johnson, who was a receiver, who just won the Super Bowl. And here I am, like training again, like, okay, like I actually have it this year, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, loved FCF, loved playing. It's just fun. I have the most fun when I'm out there playing, quarterback, throwing the ball, throwing tutties, just interacting with the guys.
Yeah,
I just
for sure.
So, like, I'm take out the advantage of the opportunities. I obviously want to play at the highest level possible, but as long as I'm having a fun playing and, it's worthwhile, I'm going to keep doing that. And FCF absolutely felt like that.
Yeah. That definitely, or that definitely felt like I got that when, as you said that, I was like, oh, that definitely, I could see that in your style of play, and just every game you just looked like you were having fun. So that's really cool. Yeah. Talk about Minnesota. I have a little soft spot in my heart for Minnesota. I'm born and raised California. Haven't really moved officially out of California. Lived in Washington State for a year, but moved back to California. Can't get away. But I worked in Minnesota for a summer in 2019. I was hired at a camp to be a wilderness guide, taking groups of high school age kids out into the Boundary Waters. And I just fell in love with Minnesota and the Boundary Waters. Hung out in Duluth a lot. Super dope place. Minnesota is a really nice place. Love the Boundary Waters too. Have you ever been out there? I'm assuming maybe you have. Maybe I'm wrong though.
Minnesota is crazy underrated. People always like smack on it, like, oh, Minnesota, oh yeah, like they just hate on it. I'm like come up. Like the winters, don't come up, but like the summers, insane. Like I love the Twin Cities area, great city life, like clean, nice people. And then if you want like the northern feel, you go up to Duluth or even all the way up to the Boundary Waters, and it's just gorgeous wilderness.
Hmm.
I've actually personally never made it all the way up to the Boundary Waters, but like Duluth area or like further north, like great camping, lakes everywhere. You can fish, water
Yep.
ski, water sports, all that stuff. So I'm saying, if you haven't been out here, you got to come visit. I'll show you all the good spots.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely, yeah, I agree with that. Definitely get out there, just visit the Twin Cities, definitely, and then explore some of that countryside for sure, or that rural area. It's so beautiful out there.
oh my gosh, it's insane. The lake life in Minnesota summers, nothing better than that. And
Really,
yeah,
nothing is.
it's a blast. I'm excited for this summer, and like we have a spot in Twin Cities, so I'm excited for like Twins games, like the
Oh
baseball
yeah.
team. Hit up some breweries, and then my fiance her parents live on a lake up like in central Minnesota, so like we'll go to the lake, on the weekends and stuff too. So I'm telling you, whoever's listening, you gotta come to Minnesota. Try it out. Underrated. It's awesome.
It definitely is worth it. Yeah, you just rent, Airbnb a cabin on a lake and you'll fall in love with it. Cause I was like, like cool lakes. I have the ocean though. It's going to be the same. But man, living at this camp on a lake was something else. It was like, lake life is dope. And I definitely want to have a cabin out there for the summer just to go and hang out on a lake for the summer. Cause it's special, man. It's special. So yeah, get out there if you can. It's a dope place.
It is absolutely. And just going off, you kind of asking like who I am, who's like Jerdy off the
Yeah.
field, outside football. Like I was raised, just to like love everyone, accept others. You always hear like Minnesota nice. Just try to be kind to everyone. Just love and accept everyone. But people always say like I kind of like remind them or give off, like kind of like go with the flow, like goofy, like good vibes, like kind of like a Cali guy. Like people will say like
Yeah.
you're from Cali or whatever, the long hair. I like longboard and stuff. So definitely want to. I got you come visit me. I'll come visit you in Cali because I got to hit
Oh,
up Cali.
Oh, I'm definitely down. I know Jose Ruckus is also out in California, so there's reasons for you to get out here, right? And come visit and explore. And I'm always down to go to Minnesota because it's such a beautiful place. I think I'm gonna actually plan on going out there this summer with a friend who we love doing wilderness trips, so we're probably gonna do that. Hopefully, COVID messes everything up right now, but hey, we're coming out of it, so get vaccinated so we can go do stuff again, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, but so football, that's a really interesting story. Like hearing you were in the same at Penn with Hackenberger and all these names that you worked out with. It's like, wow, that's crazy. And COVID really derailed you. And we all knew this was happening with COVID when everything got canceled last year, and even this year things are slowly starting to get moving, but it's still a little slow. So it's really interesting to hear all that. But what do you? It seems like this FCF might have helped because your interaction with the fans, and you are kind of the face of the Aces outside of the ownership group, which is kind of where the face of the teams will be and the fans. But as a player, man, you really embodied what the Wild Aces were all about from day one. How do you think that experience is going to help you potentially move on to the next tier of play?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Like one FCF, it was the first or like the only league going on at the time too. So it's so important, especially for like me as a free agent. You got to put out film. You got to get film, put it out there and see you. Because especially for me coming from D3, having like my pro day canceled last year, like my agent said, like all the scouts would be like, yeah, like he's got great film, put up the numbers, but like he's D3, so we have to see him in person. So that was why it was like so hard on me when my pro day got
Yeah.
canceled and everything. But here we are again. I have one in a week, so I'm excited for that. But as far as FCF, like my social media platforms like doubled if not tripled,
Yeah.
just from the interaction with the Wild Aces. And I thought I just tried to take advantage of every opportunity as I could. That I was in like group messages with Greg Miller, Austin Eckler, like
Yeah.
just talking about the team, trying to be successful, trying to do everything we could to win, and just interacting with the fans. Like I like every DM I try to respond to.
Yeah.
I'm not in the mindset where it's like, oh, like playing football, I'm not like gonna talk to anyone else or like be hard, because like I love like growing my network, meeting new people, interacting, because you have no idea where it's gonna go, or like
Exactly.
growing the relationship, opportunities, networking. So I love that part of SCF, just fostering these new relationships and meeting so many people. That people ask me what's your favorite part about SCF, and like the games in that are like my number one like favorite thing about FCF, and I love how they do that. So yeah, again, I just networking, getting the name out, especially being like a small school guy, D3. Like the more recognition, or like the more like you can get your name out, the better that helps me.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like that's a huge part of what this league is. It's not, I don't think leagues that try to be the NFL or beat the NFL are going to be successful because it's just not the same product. It's different. So it feels weird. So when this is being so different, you can excel in different ways. And this league wants players to grow a platform because it is all online. It's all about that online platform, not just for the league and not just for the owners, but for the players too. And you really took advantage of that. And it's cool to see how it works. So it's like you kind of laid a foundation in a little of a map for players to kind of follow and see, oh, this is how I can grow my platform. I saw you were a Twitch affiliate now.
Yeah.
I don't know how into Twitch you were before the league, but like that's pretty cool. Like that's already a platform now that's grown because of this thing, like you said, and you kind of made that blueprint, in my opinion, for players how to really interact with this league and use it to your advantage to get those scouts' eyes on you and those NFL teams potentially on you.
Yes, and just going off that, I didn't have Twitch before this league. Like
Yep.
they helped me, they gave us the tools to like succeed and be successful. Um, so yeah, I love that part as well. I'm about to be streaming with Jose Ruckus, tonight, and just it's a blast. I so many crazy cool things like relationships, me gaining knowledge and experiences have come out of FCF, and it was only like 2.5 months. So it just blows my mind.
That's a crazy thing too. Yeah, it was only 2.5 months, but so much
Yeah.
happened and went down, not just on the field, but in every player's lives. Like it really is really cool. So let's. What I want to know, what really drew, and I think you maybe kind of answered this with your other answers so far, but what drew you into this league? When I've told people about this league, it's a little difficult to kind of break down because there's so many different layers to it. Because you have a smaller field, 7-on-7, 50-yard field, that sometimes turns people off right away. But there are linemen, so you still have that aspect of the game. So it's not as different as people think. But then you have these power ups, and then the fans are calling the plays, and you draft a team every week. There's only 4 teams right now, so you have these owners. What are they? It's on Twitch. What is Twitch? It seems a little hard to get people involved from my perspective. I really had to learn how to talk about this league to people. So when you first heard about this league, like what drew you in and being like, you know what? Yeah, I want to get into this league.
Well, one being the opportunity, because I had no idea like what I was doing, like football wise. Like I was hoping I'd be in the Gopher Pro Day eventually, but I didn't know this timed up where I'd be done right before the Gopher Pro Day. So yeah, just I did a tryout, got the call. I was like, "Yep, absolutely going, getting filmed, getting paid to play football."
Yeah.
Absolutely doing it. But when I first heard about the concept, I'm like, okay, like that's interesting. Like, like nothing like this exists. You talk about like these other leagues trying to like compete with the NFL or like the other leagues, and like this is a completely different product. It's literally like fan controlled football. So those that like aren't listening and like haven't heard of this, like I think the best way of describing it is it's essentially an in-person Madden combined with fantasy football in a sense.
Mm.
So there's 4 teams right now, and the fans decide everything. They decide the team names, the uniforms, the logos, some of the rules, and then every week there's a pool of players, and it's like fantasy where the fans for each team, they pick a running back, wide receivers, tight ends, quarterback, who they want to play, and then at the end of the week, like you'll draft again after the game. It just changes from week to week, but during the game, it's literally Madden. You like have like some like 6 plays you can select from, call the plays, and like the conversions you call, like which route you want to run and everything. So there's so many different aspects, like you said, like the field dimensions of being 7-on-7. There's power ups, like what the heck are power ups? Like for example, 5th down if you don't get it on 4th, and it legit feels like a video game when you're there. And they're just trying to create a product like that's different from like traditional like NFL football, involving more fans and just like putting on like a show, like entertainment too. Like we have WWE style entrances and stuff like that. And again, it's on Twitch, and they have a lot of like celebrity team owners as well. So like my team is like Rachel Lindsay, Greg
Mm.
Miller, Austin Eckler. That's 3 like very different audiences right there. Bachelor Nation, like kind of funny, like video games, Twitch style, and then the NFL, like running back. Like
Yep.
SCF did a great job at reaching out to different audiences and just getting the word out there too. So there's so many different aspects. But I thought FCS just did a great job at just trying to cater to so many different people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and since you mentioned owners, I know some of the other owners, just because there are some big names attached to this league. Is I mean, Richard Sherman is one of the owners, current NFL player. Marshawn Lynch is an owner of the Beast. Obviously, Renee Montgomery, a WNBA star who just retired. She's phenomenal. And I know there's definitely the Zappers, like Ronnie 2K, a big NBA 2K guy, but I honestly don't remember who else is on the Zappers.
Dalvin Cook,
Dalvin Cook, that was the other one. Yeah.
will do it. Like so many different like audiences out there, like
Yeah.
different branches of entertainment and everything. So I think that's just genius on FCS parts, because that's what gets the word out there too. Like who would thought like people like diehard like Bachelor Nation fans or whatever, Rachel Lynch about football, like what? Like I own a football team and that brings it in. So yeah, they're doing a great job.
Yeah, I remember when they announced her, I was like, "Who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome that she wanted to be involved in this league. This is dope. Like that's so cool. Really awesome." Also, Joe Montana is on I think a higher executive level, maybe just a consultant for the league, but he was on the broadcast during the season. That's what brought me into the league and really was like, oh, if current NFL players and ex NFL players are like really getting involved in this and invested in it, I'm gonna take a look and really look at what's going on. And then at that point, that's when I was in and bought into the league. So
yes, especially as a player, like like you wonder like what's legit. There's so many different like camps or like startups or like tryouts and leagues and everything. And like when you hear this concept and you see one's going to be on Twitch, like okay, broadcasted everywhere, phenomenal platform, like one of the best.
Yeah.
And then like Marshawn Lynch is an owner, Richard Sherman, like Joe Montana. I was like, okay, so like there's like even more legitimacy like built behind those names. So it's like, okay, like let's give it a shot. Let's look more into it. So yeah, they definitely help.
Yeah, for sure. And you need those people to get the eyes on. But man, the play on the field outside of like these big names, but yeah, the players that were in the league, you might not have known them, but I mean, you were, had some pro days lined up. I know Galloway, star running back for the Aces, right? He was on an NFL practice team at one point. Like there's players that we know, but we just don't get a chance to really look at and see tape on them because they just didn't get their shot. The door wasn't there for them in that moment. But this league is another door for people, and for you too, as you explained, this opportunity to show off and show that, hey, I'm someone to invest in. Give me a chance. And so many players in this league did that. And that's what I love too. It's so different. It's out there with the concept, but it's still football at its heart. And we still get to see guys every week go out and perform, which we did. I loved it. One part about the game I want to ask you about is the man up drills. So how that works is the quarterback and one of their receivers will line up and go one-on-one against a defensive back of another team. This is before the draft. You can accumulate points to earn power-ups or power plays during the game. See, this is where the league starts to get a little iffy on explaining it, but it works well. So yeah, it's this one-on-one drill. How did you feel about that, like as an extra point change, and just how that process all worked for you?
Yeah, so map challenge happened before the draft and essentially like increased the draft stock for players that performed well in it. Like for example, like Trav Daddy, he got here late, so he missed part of camp. He's a receiver from Minnesota that I know, and like nobody knew who he was, but he balled out in the man up challenge, which is just one-on-ones for extra points. And like he was drafted in the second round, I think, of like the first draft, and ended up being franchise tag later on and one of the best receivers in the league.
Yeah, he got away from us.
I know. But yeah, the man up challenge, it was fun too because it's not traditional game weeks at FCF. Like you have something almost every night. Breaks the week up, and it's another competition where you're going out, you're trying to get power ups for your team. Especially in the playoffs when you're literally competing against the other team in the playoffs. Like that's a game changer. And like it comes down to extra points. A lot of the games did. And that's what like the power ups were for. At first, like I thought like the power ups were like the fifth down and stuff like that. But later on we found out it was just like redos for the extra points. But yeah. I love the one-on-one. I like it being kind of like in our control, and not up necessarily to a kicker, but you having more control in it. So it's just another different aspect of FCF, and it's exciting to watch.
Yeah, and no hate to the kickers. Kickers matter too, but definitely it's nice to have a fast pace and it's just exciting because yeah, those extra points do really matter a lot when the league or when the field is kind of small. You can score quickly, but we saw in some games that wasn't always the case. But those 2 point conversions really matter, and I love seeing the players, especially on the man up challenge that happens on draft night on Wednesday, seeing those players get like kind of chippy with each other and call each other out and say, "No, let's run it again. Like, come on, come back. We're doing this again because you didn't beat me. You fouled or something." And I love that aspect and the trash talk and hearing the people in the stream and the broadcast just like, "Oh yeah, call him out. Like, bring him back. Let's run it again. Let's see what happens." And they just lose their mind in the booth, like he did it again, or like, "Oh, the defense stepped up." Those challenges and the interactions, because they're on Twitch, they can be a little less censored, and not necessarily saying like they can cuss all the time, which technically they can, and they do, use that language every now and then, which is kind of fun. But they can just be themselves more. So on this platform of Twitch is such an awesome platform that lets the league be its own identity and form its own footprint, and they've done such a great job so far.
Yeah, and that's another big part too. Just like being themselves. For example, like Johnny Football was here, Johnny Manziel, and that's what attracted him too. He's like, I hated like going places and having them say like, no, you can't act like this, you can't do this. Whereas this league wants me for who I am, and the FCF did a great job just like letting us like show ourselves, get chippy, get into it, but still like draw the line at a certain point. But just really showing our authentic selves and like helping us like create ourselves and build our brand off and off the field.
100%. Yeah, I think that's something that the NFL has some issue with sometimes, is just letting these players really, they're players at the end. They're human at the end of the day. This isn't their life playing this game. They're not just a football player. So I love that this league really like interviews people. There's a barbershop show in the middle of the week because you guys were in a bubble, so people obviously probably needed to get their hair cut. So why not make it a show? And that was so cool. I remember the first one I watched was with Slick Nick, and I think you might have appeared in that one. But I was just like, wow, this is awesome. Like, this is so cool. Just getting to hear these guys' story in such a casual and weird but awesome way. It is such a cool thing they're doing down there. Since we've mentioned bubble life, how was being in a bubble for, what was it, like 2 months, 3 months?
2.5 months. I'm telling everyone, being back in civilization, it's weird. I'm back to having to go grocery shopping, make food, do dishes. And like the weirdest part was coming home from the airport. We're driving, and I'm like, "Holy cow! Like I can go anywhere right now." Because the only time, well, it was a hardcore bubble. We were in a hotel, and it was just SCF players, personnel in the hotel. Only time like going outside was to and from practice. So we got we got a routine. Like you couldn't leave and everything. So it's different. Love my time there, but feels so good to be out of the bubble and like, actually have freedom again.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. So as you guys are in the bubble day to day, we saw on the broadcast, it was pretty evident, especially on draft night. One of the last ones, I think, one of the offensive lines, maybe it was Block Barty or maybe it was Heavy Hitters. They came out with, chairs and in togas and started a fake wrestling match against the refs. And it was like, oh man, these guys are having fun. That's awesome. But clearly bubble life is getting to them. How is, players in general, what did you guys do day to day outside of practice, outside of like the FCF broadcast shows that they did? What did you guys to keep yourself entertained? What did you guys do?
I mean, really depended on like who you are. Like some guys just go back to the room, chill, especially like early on because we had the contact palm tracers for COVID. So like some guys got busted for close contact when someone ended up having it. So like first couple weeks, like I didn't really leave like the room. I'm like, I'm not risking like being another week of quarantine and stuff. But as like it kind of like bubble got safe, everyone started hanging out. We had like cornhole bags like in the ballroom, bunch of games. Like guys were always down there like playing chess or cards or
Yeah.
something, entertain yourselves. But I mean, we had to like it depends on the day because a lot of the time when we weren't practicing, like we were on these shows or like doing podcasts or like learn how to Twitch stream or like Commissioner Ray Austin had like pouring sessions for us where we brought in like comedians or like entrepreneurs and all kinds of stuff. Just like it was like a growing and learning experience. And then workouts, like we kept busy for sure. And I think there was like maybe you said like the deep fade, the barber show. Like I want to say there was a new show like every night or like a different show like every day. So you like if you're on that, so a lot of things to do to keep busy. Like you said, I'm affiliated on Twitch. Like I was streaming there, just getting like stuff like set up and worked out. But Yeah, there was so much to do. It was fun, and like as the season progressed, like the guys got really close. So it was bittersweet leaving.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I remember just everything that new that came out from this league, either directly from the league or like you streaming. I just was just like, man, this league is so dope. Like, I remember seeing you tweeted out one night during when you were still in the bubble that on Twitch streaming. I was like, oh, that's cool. Let me just check it out real quick. Our franchise quarterback's streaming right now. And you're playing Lego Harry Potter. I was like, this is just like on a different level. Like this guy, they said in the broadcast, their work, they offer like they teach players how to use Twitch and social media and stuff because they want players to build that brand up. So I knew that was there. I'm like, this league literally helped this dude figure out Twitch, and he's on here chilling right now playing Lego Harry Potter. What a life, man! What a life! Like it's so dope.
I know, like my fiance and people were like, I don't know, like how you're doing the bubble, especially like during the quarantine phase, where it's
Oh
like a
yeah, for
week
sure.
just in your hotel room. And I'm like, I mean, we have food delivered to our door, we have laundry delivered to our door, meals, everything. Like I'm just chilling here, like playing video games, and then like after quarantine, like football and streaming. Like it's pretty solid. Like I'm not complaining. And yeah, like Harry Potter, I tweeted out, I'm like, I didn't have too many games down in the bubble, and with the Wi-Fi speed, you couldn't download them. So,
That makes
like,
sense.
my available games are like Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, like offline zombies, or Harry Potter. I'm like, which one do you want me to stream? And Harry Potter won pretty like handedly, and I was shocked. I'm like, all right, Lego Harry Potter it is. Say less.
Honestly, I love those streams where it's just like a game that either super old or really unknown or just like kind of odd, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm down to watch this person play this game. Like that's fun. I love the Lego games too. So that was just so much fun to watch. And I mean, even the league, like they're sponsored by Wendy's because they have that Wendy's hot mic box. I know people call it a hot box, but that's not what it is. Um,
I didn't know that. That's funny.
it's in the kind of funny chat, I think. I don't want to call anyone out though. They the first game I saw some of the block party, our O line who we picked throughout the whole season, which was nice. They just show up with Wendy's burgers in the middle of the game eating a burger. I was like, this league is wild. I don't know how that affected them in the game and in the next game because they played two games, but what a cool concept. I love that so much.
I it's so much fun. Like the amount of stuff they had for us, the surprises they had, especially like at the end of the championship when is literally raining money from the ceiling. They're like, why pay for confetti in the cleanup crew when you can just rain down the money you would have paid for that? I was like, that is awesome.
I can't argue with that point. That's a good point. Yeah, this would cost a couple thousand, probably a couple hundred at least. I'll say 1,000 though. I'm pretty sure it costs more than I expect to have confetti rain from the ceiling. So it was so funny. I was switching streams at that point, and then I came back in and I was like, "What? Why is there money everywhere? Like, what is going on?" I was like, "Oh, that's funny." Someone in chat was like, "Hey, they're getting their salaries." I was like, "Nah, that's dirty. Why are you saying that? Come on." The FCF takes care of them enough.
They do a great job.
Yeah. All right. Well, season two, we know it's coming soon. Eventually, they put out and said, they're looking at multiple venues right now. Once they get those locked in, we'll know. As a player, is there anything you thought that happened during this season that you're like, you know what? As a player, like, think this, I would want to change this. I would want to adjust this. Do you have anything?
The thing that comes to mind right away, I thought, especially it being the inaugural season, there were multiple rule changes,
Yeah.
like a lot of stuff going on, like behind the scenes, and that like the fans were suggesting on Twitter and everything. The I would have loved if we had like a debriefing like once a week, like hey, like here are the new rule changes, like this is
Mm,
like everything that's out there, the power ups, and just explain stuff so like everybody like knew what was going on. And there were like no questions as far as like the fans and the players and like yeah, everyone going on. There's no disparity. So I would love like something like that, like once a week, like have Ray or like D's like pop
yeah.
on, or even on their Twitch show, have like maybe like 15-20 minutes of like discussing like what's actually changing. They always throw out like the votes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but actually say like this is the new rule. This is how it's changed from last week. This is how like you can like utilize it. Blah 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 blah. Because when we were
For
playing,
sure.
like a lot of the guys didn't know what the heck the fourth down rule. They're like, what's going on? They're like, why would we do that? Like there was so much confusion. So I mean that's what I would say for sure. But in the most part, I thought the league, the personnel, they did a phenomenal job. Of just like moving along, and I thought the league ran pretty smoothly for the most part for the first season.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with that. There was some confusion, especially early on, and I felt bad for the head ref who clearly had to look at his, the refs had to look at the rule book a lot and be like, is this the right? We're doing this right? And then and I felt bad because refs always get a stink because wherever they call a penalty against someone, that team is gonna not like the ref, and I felt bad. I was like, oh, this poor ref, he's getting so much hate. He's just trying to do his job. They keep changing the rules, like give him a chance. But that's another thing about this league that there was so much preparation beforehand. It was clear going into this season, and even as the season happened, those rule changes, like the overtime rule, because there's no kickoffs, so you can do or the onside kick actually. There's no kicking, so the onside kick is just I think you get the ball at your 10-yard line, 4th and 10. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, it turns the ball over. Super cool. But in that, I think it was the Glacier Boys game, the second time you guys played them, that rule got exposed, right? It was just constantly like, because you could do an onside kick at any point. So it just got insane.
Took 4 weeks to expose the rule, but it finally happened. They're like, "Yep, we're changing this."
Yeah.
The game we're trying to be like an hour, it turned into like 2.5 hour game real quick.
Yeah, especially that first week, I was like, "This is not fast. This is not an hour. This is okay." But by the end of it in the championship game, it was 10 minutes longer, but even that flew by. I think it was. I don't know how long it was, but I felt like it was around 2 or even under 2 hours. So they really did speed it up. But that's going back to the rule change. That's what I do like about this league is the owners are like, all right, that didn't work. Fans, do you want to change it? That happened in week 1. There was votes in week 2. I think there were votes every week except, in the playoffs of, hey, we want to adjust the rules. And I like that the foresight and the willingness to be, hey, this isn't working. Fans, let's change it right now. As opposed to like referencing the NFL again, where remember that one I don't know if you're super into the NFL, but that one season where they teams were able to challenge the pass interference rule and it just did not work. It did not work. So they had to wait the whole season to change it back. And it's like the FCF was like, this didn't work. Let's change it.
Yes,
love that.
Literally at times in between games too, like after the first game, before the second game happened, they change it.
Yeah, that pissed off a couple of the kind of funny guys. And the community was kind of pissed, like, you changed the rule now? But I love that because, hey, it's the first season. We're figuring it out. And it's working. It's working. So, yeah, at the end of the day,
and they fixed it. Like, I love that. Like, literally, okay, yeah, like that rule is a problem. Here's how we're going to fix it. And they do it immediately. So, yeah, maybe it sucks for us, like, in certain cases, but at least they're trying to fix it so it doesn't happen again.
Exactly. Yeah, I think every other team was like, "Oh, thank you for changing that rule because we don't want that to affect us." So, just unfortunately, it was us, and that made us. I mean, it made us feel like the underdog all season. So going into the last game, it was fun, and we came out with that chip, right?
Yeah, we did. Let's go.
All right. Well, before I let you go, season 2, how you feel? I mean, I know you have a pro day. Obviously, me as a fan, I want to see you grow, and man, I would love to see you get to the NFL. Absolutely love that. But what are you thinking, man? What are your plans? Like, you down to play another season if the opportunity's there and nothing else happens, or is this like, no, I want to get my feet ready to move on and really try to get to that next level?
If nothing comes from the pro day and like no NFL, CFL opportunities, because again, they're not having rookie mini camps again this year. Like,
oh yeah, I did.
And stuff. So like, similar situation. So it's definitely tough for someone in my position. CFL, not sure what they're doing. I think they're trying to have a season, but
yeah, they're partnering with the XFL actually, which the XFL now has The Rock as attached as the owner. Yeah, so we'll see what comes of that.
And so, I mean, there's a lot going on. We'll see on the opportunities, but like, let's say nothing happens and FCF season 2 rolls around. I had an incredible experience with FCF. Great people involved. I would be honored to go back for season 2, especially if they put it to Vegas and there's no bubble. That would be a blast. So,
man, I'm right outside LA, so when I heard they had Vegas planned, I was like, no, COVID. I could have went to games. It's right there. But hey, I'm all down for Vegas. Please put it in Vegas, just for me and the fans on this side, because it's never coming to Cali. That's for sure, right? Who wants to be in Cali with these tech? Vegas would, especially, I'm a Raider fan, so just imagining you guys potentially playing in that stadium, that'd be dope.
No way.
I know. Hey, I'm looking for the NFL to be like, hey, we want to partner with you guys, because that's something I think the NFL should have done, kind of similar to what the NBA does with their G League. It's like, just make a supplemental league just to get these players a chance to shine. And I think the FCF can do that because it's so different, but you really get to know the players. So I don't know, these NFL scouts could be like, I know who Jackson Erdmann is. I have a pretty good idea of who he is. I've seen his play on the field. I see how he interacts with guys, and I see him on social media. It's just a great opportunity for players. So we'll see what it goes. But hey, I can hope that you guys play in the Raider Stadium. I can hope.
Always hope. That would be insane. Me
It
too.
would,
I'm
yeah.
hoping too.
Well, anything to get that giant wall away from the sideline.
Oh my gosh, for real, especially the end zone.
Yeah, the end zone with the concrete too, as well. Like, it worked, but there was multiple times where I think Josh Gordon, in his last game against us in the playoffs, like, he hit those chairs on that one side and landed down, and I was like, oh no, this sucks. Like, they just got Josh Gordon, now he's gonna go down. This is bad. But luckily, no crazy injuries with that. But hopefully, they can adjust that side.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Jerdy, unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about, anything you want to promote, totally go for it, man. Or we can just close up.
I would just say I'm starting off on streaming. If you want to tune in at Jerdydude, I'd appreciate it. Just starting out. And then, yeah, and feel free to interact with me on social media. Twitter, Instagram, everything's at Jerdydude. Love meeting new people and just growing the network. And I appreciate all the fans and everyone listening and giving FCF a shot, because it gives people like me opportunities. So thank you.
100%. Yeah, definitely check out their streams. He also streams with Jose Ruckus, who's the host of the Aces Wild, the official fan podcast of the NFL. They have a fun time. I've hopped in a couple times and watched you guys play. You guys are just entertaining, and it's a fun time over there. So check him out. Check out that other podcast too. Shout him out. He's doing great work over there. He has a lot of cool things planned for this off season, ramping up to season 2. So check him out, guys. Check out the FCF at fcf.io to learn about the league, look at everything, look at the owners, and sign up and pick a team so when next season rolls around, you are ready to go. Thanks again, Jackson Erdmann. Jerdydude, thanks again for coming on. Congrats on the championship. Such a fun time. Yeah.
Hey, congrats to you too. It's a community effort. You guys are calling the plays.
That's the thing. I can finally say, like, congrats, we did it. It's we, as opposed to when I say we did it and it's like, no, you didn't. You just yelled at a TV and they did it. That's what's cool about this league. Officially, the fans do it. We as a team won the championship. Thanks again. Check it out, and we'll see you next time.